Good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing today? I hope we meet you very cool, calm, and connected. And hey, you're welcome to Eagles Perch, where we soar above the ordinary to bring you the most enchanting stories and inspiring conversations from the height of diversity, adventure, innovation, and lifestyle. I remain your one and only host, Oluwakemi Odusoya, but known on this perch as Queen of the Eagles. And yes, you're welcome to the episode 12 of our weekly series where we bring you inspiring conversations from renowned professionals and experts across the globe. And today, we will be joined on the perch an amazing person. But before then, meet our sign language interpreter who has dedicated her time today to be with us. She is signing for the deaf and hard of hearing individuals, those who are able to communicate with the use of sign. Her name is Demilade, and we say very thank you to you and to all the other sign language interpreters who has been on Eagles Perch. And also a big thank you to you out there who has found it interesting to join us on today's episode. Okay, share it, like, comment, and get the conversation rolling. So today, are you wondering what we're talking about? We're talking about media as a tool for diversity and innovation. Yes. And we'll be joined by a guest in person of Mr. Shawn Inonse. Yes, I hope he's joined us. So our technical guy would let me know when he joins us. But are you wondering, why exactly do we talk about media as a tool for diversity and innovation? When we talk about media, we are referring to the radio, the TV, the newspaper, and other electronic broadcasting agencies. And by this, why do we mean diversity and innovation? We are talking about the ordinary things that people do not talk about, and we are ready to talk about it on Eagles Perch. Okay, so proudly TSI, are you here with us? Can you hear me? So while you are still trying to get that settled, I will tell you a little bit about our guest for today. Are you ready? Trust Shawn Inonse is a seasoned communication strategist with a proven record of guiding brands towards successful communication outcomes, and is committed to building relationships that are strong. Trust actually believes in the power of authentic and impactful messaging with a deep understanding of the human connection. He leverages words to bridge gaps and drives action towards positive change. That is the person we will be having today on the perch. So, Trust, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hi, Kemi. How you doing? Good afternoon.
Good
Glad being here.
Awesome. It's really nice to hear and have Trust on today's episode. I tell you a little bit about trust before we move on. Actually, trust and I, we've gone a long way. Although all of a sudden we had this gap, right from secondary school all the way from the subway, right from Ikorodu, Lagos, Nigeria, and he has been someone. When I see him, I'm like, trust, like, but it's actually a cool guy. And here he is, even though he did not invite me for his wedding. It's fine, okay? I was ready to blow that your bubble so that all the ladies that have been asking in one corner, they will know that he's already taken. So
Kemi,
try.
Kemi, you didn't need to do that. Kemi, you didn't need to do that.
I didn't get to do that, my dearest. Congratulations on your, new found home. Congrats, and I wish you many more. All
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. I'm waiting for when you tell me that you've done yours. But no, no, let's not talk about that yet.
right. All right. Okay, so at this level, let's get to know who Trust is. Trust is a visually impaired person. He is the editor lead at a media firm, right? And on this episode, we get to know if his visual impairment really limits him or not. So I'll hand it over to Trust. Trust, can you tell us and the audience who are listening, watching globally, how did your visual impairment start? And has it in any way limited your success today?
All right. So thanks so much, Kemi, for the brilliant question. So first things first, I lost my sight at the age of 4. That's long time ago. When I could barely speak and when I could barely read or write. So my first introduction into any bit of education was Braille and in the blindness in the way it works in the in the blind community, right? Reading Braille, typing with a typewriter, and all of those stuff, right? That was my introduction to education. Unlike some people who, yeah, at some point they could read, they could write, they could do all manner of things till they lost their sight. So me losing my sight at the age of 4, and my first introduction into what seemed to be formal education um, was partially school for the blind and partially sighted children. It makes a whole lot of sense for me to speak on this, right? So, as an individual who has grown through the ranks, from education through primary, secondary, and of course tertiary institution, University of Lagos, which is UNILAG, I'm working in one of the most prestigious media houses in Nigeria, radio houses in Nigeria, which is Regulatory's owner of Beat FM, Classic FM, Niger FM, and Lagos Talks. It is imperative I say that it's happened not because uh, of lack of challenges. It happened because Trust was ready and willing to break through those challenges to be here as the lead editor of Lagos Stocks 91.3 FM, right? Now the question is, if it has impeded my success. Now it is difficult to answer the question because it will require me to juxtapose between what would have been and what it is right now. I didn't have an idea of what it could have been. I don't know if I could see. I probably won't even be a media practitioner. Probably I'll be a pilot. Probably I'll be a surgeon. Probably I'll be whatever. But I might even be like an admiral on the streets, right? Because it could be anything. So that juxtaposition is really difficult to come by. But has it how bliss has and how has the success story been? I would say it has been relatively great, right? I've enjoyed the process. It has been a process. I've enjoyed the process. It has been awesome doing all of this. It has been awesome breaking barriers, setting and reshaping the narrative especially in the media landscape and the communication landscape, and whoever I meet, just have a perception shift and shifting the paradigm. And I think that is more enjoyable for me than doing the regular. So am I enjoying the process? Hell yes, I'm enjoying the process. More to come, definitely more successes on the way. Is it an excuse? Of course not. Like being blind is not an excuse for me, and I just keep on doing what I have to do and hope for the best and hope universe, Jehovah that I serve, and of course, everything just shines on me, and heaven shines on me, and I'm doing good for myself. Hi, Kemi. Oh wow. I don't know if you can hear me, Kemi.
That.
Hi,
Can you hear me, Chuck?
hi, Kemi. Yeah, I can hear you now. Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Like, did you? Is, could you hear me since
Yes,
all this while,
yes,
or you
I
just said?
can hear you since.
Oh, okay, okay, fantastic, fantastic,
Okay,
great,
so our
great stuff.
technical person would also try. We want to like see the possibility of expanding the audio, right? So
Just expand the audio. I didn't get that. Can you? Hello?
so guys, while trust is still finding it to be challenging.
Hi, Kemi, can you hear me? Is it better now? Can you hear me now? Hello, Kemi. Okay, I think network is crap. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, trust.
Okay, so what's the challenge?
Yeah.
What's the challenge?
So I was trying to connect. I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yes, I can. I can
Okay,
hear you now.
awesome. Great. So we'll just continue in that light of conversation. You said that, going through the ways that you've shredded, and now you are seeing yourself, someone blooming in the media space. And I was just wondering, did you ever see yourself in this light prior to now? Did you ever see yourself as an editor, or possibly, you prefer to be a broadcast, like one of the OAPs, like they say? Did you ever see yourself in the editing
Uh,
line?
so to be fair, I saw myself as a communication specialist, right? I saw myself as an all-rounder, someone who is a communication strategist, who is a writer, who is a copywriter, content writer, who can also broadcast, right? Who is a broadcaster, and all of these things, right? So I started my career as a broadcaster, to be fair. When I started at Lagos Talks, I was a broadcaster. I hosted all the belts in Lagos Talks. Like there's no belt I haven't hosted in Lagos Talks, from the early edition, the midday show, late edition, the live drive. All of these belts, I hosted them at some points in my career, right? So as at the point where and I doubled this as being a producer, right? I was also a producer, producing a host of shows. I produced Metro Security. I produced The Office. I produced African Farmer. I produced a lot of shows. I also produced People's Perspective, right? I produced a lot of shows, right? So I did all of these things all together. And at some point in my career, I also, when it was time to lead the editorial team, when the editorial team was about to be formed, and I was called upon to lead the editorial team. It was easy peasy, because as an editor, as someone who has um no pun intended, eye for detail, and for someone who seemed to know what needs to be done at a particular time, it was it was quite an easy thing for me to just fit in, right? And so far so good. It has been great. Leading the team, ensuring that the team is doing what's right, still producing shows, and of course analyzing, serving as expert in some issues, calling me up in some situation when there is some analytical points of view. So it has been bliss, to be fair. So and that's why I don't just refer to myself as a broadcaster or as an editor, because I do everything. I work for brands, top brands around the country, about their strategy, their media planning, and their media strategy, their communication strategy. And I write copies for, and I do voiceover, voice acting, right? So all of these things are things I do. And that's why I don't regard myself as just a broadcaster or just an editor. I just think I'm a communication specialist, and whatever the communication needs. So I saw myself to be in all of these spaces, and yeah, and I hope that answers your question. Hi, Kemi.
Huh? Trust, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now,
Okay,
Kemi.
great. I think maybe there's a bit of network issue, right? But you've had everything all covered, and it's really nice. Now I would be going into some, challenges and negative perception people have towards persons with disability, and how the media has been a tool for diversity. Now, when we say
Right,
diversity, I mean, for you now, you are a visually impaired person. You are diverse in terms of productivity, right? If you need to use a laptop, you need to have a screen reader with it. So that's the difference with the regular, or the regular way of, using the computer. So that's a part of diversity, and it also encompasses innovation. So in that way, I want to ask you, but before I ask, please, I would want you to speak. You are an Oyinbo boy. I will need you to speak
I don't know.
little because we have a sign language interpreter on the screen. So I will
Oh,
need you to,
right, right,
yes.
right.
So I need you to speak a little so that she can be able to capture your words. So now,
Yeah,
in that aspect
that
of
works.
diversity, what are those misconceptions you've come across over time that people think towards you in your profession, not even during secondary school or university now, as
Right,
editor,
right, right.
right? Yeah, what are those misconceptions?
Uh, so I was answer this from the lens of, yeah, I hope the sign language person can capture this
Yeah,
better now. And I'm sorry that I was so fast before. But yeah, from the point of view of an individual who wanted to come into the media space, it was relatively challenging. And I would say this because as at the point where I got into Lagos stocks, like formally before the whole we signed the dotted lines and all of those stuff, right? I happened to be I worked for Lagos stocks on a contract basis, right? I was hosting a show and all of those things, right? And as at the point where I was to apply for the job, there was still a problem of, oh, can he really do the job? And in my head, I'm like, I've been with you guys for months now, right? I served with you guys. I did all of these things with you guys. And as at the point where I was seven, I was already producing shows. As at the point when I was seven at NYC, I already produced a town hall meeting, a live show, right? I produced a live show from start to the end where I served as project manager slash producer, right? And the whole problem was, oh, how effective can he be? Now, these questions come in from time to time, and I generally will not say the blame lies on the individuals who are quote unquote ignorant. I would say that it's down to the system we've built over time. And we built a system that depicts blind people as beggars, depicts blind people as people that were witch hunted from their village, as depicted by our Nollywood actors and producers and writers, unfortunately. Now, when they see meet me for the first time and I'm like, you know what, I want to be your content planner, I want to be your media strategist, you realize that there is this first hesitation that comes from them. And I'm like, oh, really? I know I once applied for a job and the individual told me that, oh, I spoke pretty well. I sound like I know the job, but his fear is, can I really do the job? And that was, I would say it was disheartening because I rather I would like to say it was expected. But the point is, I ask this same question. The other individual who can see who you probably interview, how also do you know that the person can do the job? You have to give the person the opportunity because of what the individual said. Now, if you interview me and you think that I'm great and I know my audience and you still have doubts, it is because you have a preconceived notion about people who are disabled, which is unfair, right? So many a times, it is it's when you do something, you realize that you always have to continue to show up. You don't have the grace of, okay, he has done it before, he can do it again for so many occasions. If you do it today, tomorrow there is still the doubts. You do it tomorrow, next tomorrow you still have doubts. It can be tiring. But and that's why you being a gracious individual who has some elements of grit and some elements of determination is very, very important. Because amounts of rejection, I'm here speaking so much English, but I still receive rejection up to today on the basis of disability, right? I remember some I think sometime last year or thereabout, um I was on a job. About to get a contract job to be like a communication strategist
Yeah.
for a brand, and we had a lot of conversations online via the phone, WhatsApp, and the whole conversation was going straight, like smoothly, until it got to time of let's have a physical meeting. And of course, I turned up for the physical meeting, and the first thing that was asked, "Are you the one that wants to do the communication strategy?
Wow.
Are you the one that want to give this job to?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the one. It's Shawn Inonse." No, I have not heard back from them since. So let's just keep it at least till date. I have not heard back, right? And we're on the verge of just signing off. So you witness this thing time and time again, and as much as it is disappointing, but you just have to keep on showing up. Like that is all you can do. To be fair.
Hmm. Awesome. Great, great, great. And with that, with that being said, hello, Trust.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm
Okay.
with you, Ken.
So with that being said, a lot of people actually, I'm sure they are not surprised because look at what you just said. You are at the verge of signing after all the things, all the backyard work has been done, and just for them to sign
Exactly.
off and they see you and they begin to like, whisper to themselves. And this is someone I feel so, and this I don't even know where to come in because I remember my days of youth service, and it took self-will. I tell you that it's not all persons with disabilities that actually have the courage to continue to sail through. The rejection alone, some people have faced several rejection, and the only thing they think of is suicide, right? At
True
times,
that. True
I look
that.
at the cases, and yes, people would say, oh, they have 20 persons who have committed suicide, and I say, deep down in this data, can you count how many persons with disabilities? Because not because they are not capable or they don't have the skills, but because people do not even want to give chances. A lot of employment or workstations will say, come in with 5 years experience. Where will I have that experience if you don't give me the chance in the first place? So this is like
True that.
a clarion call to you out there listening to me, right? It might just be that someone with a disability had just come to your office for a job interview, and this is just what you need. Okay, so now let's swiftly move on to the next question. I'm going to be asking you about, you know, extracurricular activities. Or no, let's stick to your job for now, right? As an
Okay.
editor,
Okay.
what are the
Right.
tools, as a visually impaired person, what are those tools that makes your work easy? What are those tools that you feel that you use that makes your work easy? Radio station or a media firm.
Uh. So for me, can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, good. I can. I just wanted to confirm that. Yeah, so for me, I basically work on my phone if I'm being perfectly honest. I use my phone to do most of my tasks, if not all, right? I am always on the move, get my mails, reply my mails, write my scripts, edit written articles or written scripts. I do all of this thing with my phone. But of course, um, laptop and computers also work. Of course, using uh, screen readers. Of course, we talk about JAWS, we talk about NVDAs of this world, and all of those screen readers, right? So, laptop for me as an editor work, and of course, screen reader, my phone, which is what I primarily use for now because of the nature of what I do at Lagos Stocks 91.3. Of course, before I moved to being an editor, I was also using my laptop because as at then, I was also in charge of Lagos Stocks podcasts, working on the podcasts. There was also a point in my life, Kevin, I didn't mention this. I was the community manager for Lagos Stocks. That
Wow.
will have to do with me handling the social media pages of Lagos Stocks. Of course, we're talking about Twitter, we're talking about Instagram, we're talking about Facebook, we're talking about all of these social media pages. And of course, by extension, also monitoring the website, traffic, and all of those things, right? So there was a
Yeah.
point in my life when I was the community manager of Lagos Stocks. There was a point in my life when I was production assistant. There's a point in my life when I was a broadcaster, and now I'm an editor, right? So all of these combination of skill and experience, I've used different tools. When I was the community manager of Lagos Stocks, I used Buffer. There was an app. There's an app you use for social media management called Buffer. At some point, I also use Hootsuite. So all of these also. So at different points in my life, I use different tool that was available. So when I was a broadcaster, of course, I made use of Zeta. That's the company software. Now, a little bit of caveat. Zeta was necessarily not accessible, which is quite not nice, but it's not accessible. So I had to
Wow.
I needed a producer with me to produce my shows, and I also used at the times when I needed to be in the studio all alone to
Yeah.
produce myself. I had to be I have to mentally work on some things because when I use the console myself, so I have to mentally picture what I need to, the button I need to push next, the button I need to push this, and when I need to push that button, which went smoothly, to be fair. And that's why I tell visually impaired people, as much as we clamor for inclusivity, which should happen, right?
Yes.
It shouldn't even be something that we should negotiate, right? But we live in a world where, as a friend of mine would say, the world wasn't made for blind people, to be fair. And to survive in that world that wasn't made for blind people, you have to be innovative yourself, right? So I remember, Kevin, if you remember vividly, before the advent of iPhone, Android that had pre-installed screen reader, that has pre-installed screen reader. There's a time when we're using the regular Nokia Tonosobe, right?
Yeah.
Like the regular phone. As of then, we're still using our phones. We're still calling ourselves even without aid. Yeah, at times maybe we want to check who missed call because oh, can you help me read this message? But at least we could navigate the phone to a reasonable degree. We could type, we could send messages, we could. So all of those little things, um, we need to also look for a way to innovate till they listen to the clarion call for them to be so innovative. Thank God for smartphones now. Smartphone makes things a whole lot better. But at the point where you don't have that, you have to try. Like you just have to push yourself and make it worthwhile. And in the case where you can't, then advocate for accessibility as much as you can. Very, very much important.
Wow. Awesome. Because a lot of people feel, a lot of people feel that persons with disabilities cannot, be productive. And this is trust. You can go through his, social media handle, and I bet you would find, several things and things that he has done. And another thing, perhaps I could chip that in, the reason why you see that Trust can talk very well or talks fast. He is a debater, right? he participates in debate
I don't like.
competition. So
I don't like you, Kemi. Kemi, I
what,
don't like
what?
you.
I like to put you on the spot. So if you like, that is trust for you. That's one of his extracurricular activity. And I remember then
Right.
at the University of Lagos when it would be, I'm like the very first day I knew, I was like, trust. I was like, oh, he was preparing for this. I was like, wow, I marveled. And this is to tell you that persons with disabilities are not just seen in the gatherings of persons with disabilities alone. There is room
Nope.
for mainstreaming, there is room for
True.
inclusion, right? So, this is why trust is so agile. And yes, on behalf of the deaf community, I'm apologizing on his behalf because he's a pastor. And it's quite
Please
challenging, but I
forgive me. I
understand.
am trying. I am trying. I am trying. Forgive me.
So now to the next question about
Right.
um, the current situation in Nigeria, right? And
Right.
the
Right.
inclusion as a whole, or let's say the education system. What would you say about inclusion in the education system, particularly about the marginalized community? Do you think that they are well represented in terms of educational curriculum, in terms of maybe educational facilities? What exactly would you have to say in that regard?
Um, Education for people with disability is, to put it so politely, is crap. Um, and that's maybe impolite. I think it leaves a whole lot to be desired, and it is abysmal. Um, Now, I tell you something, right? As at the point where I got into University of Lagos, right?
Mm,
And I remember vividly, I spoke to a lecturer in my first, I think first or second week of University of Lagos. And I said to my lecturer, "Oh, what's up?" He was selling his book, right? And yeah, one of the worst book in my life, anyways, just to chip that in. He, he was selling his book, and at this point, I went to meet him. How can I get your book? And
mm,
what is there for me as someone who is blind,
mm.
who can see, and who wants to also pass his exams? And he told me vividly, without mincing words, go sort yourself out.
Ah,
Now, that in itself is terrible enough because if you provide, to be fair, I paid school fees, I paid
yeah.
everything to get into University of Lagos, right? So if you provide book for my friend, for example, Wenga, you should also provide book for me because I paid. Why did I pay? Because I want to be educated. So if you
Mm,
did not tell Wenga to sort himself out, why are you telling Trust Shawn Inonse to sort himself out? It's abysmal, right? And you see, I doff my hat out to so many blind people who went to school and they did great in school. Right? It's it's hard. Like, guy, it is freaking hard. Imagine a situation where all you want to do is to read. Now, you have a friend who also has to read for that same exam. Well, guess what? You need that friend to also come and read to you for you to be able to even know what is in that book.
mm,
Now, this friend also wants to read for himself or herself. Now, but you have to disturb that friend to come read for you. That's crazy, right? Now, for your entire life to be dependent on someone magnanimity
mm,
for something that it's possible for you to do yourself if you only have an enabling environment is totally disastrous. Now, I know so many times in University of Lagos when I had to go write exam without reading a page of the book that was required to be read. I
mm.
didn't read one page. I didn't read a line, and I had to go write that exam anyways. And of course, if I fail, no one says it's because I'm blind. That's why I failed. The problem is you failed,
Mm,
right?
mm,
No one wants to hear that. Oh, he didn't have the book. Who cares? And you see, yeah, we say these things so many times just because we want things to be better. And I tell people, inclusivity is not for disabled people alone.
Yeah.
Like being inclusive, right? And talking about inclusivity, it's not because I want to be magnanimous and I want to pity trust and make things for trust. No, you also need to pity yourself. Because to be fair, to be perfectly fair, we've had people, I know a friend of mine present, I know someone presently, maybe not a friend, but I know someone presently who is done with his master's and he lost his sight. Now, he came to meet me to teach him Braille at the point of done with his masters. Now I had to be responsible for teaching him Braille. That's sad, right? But the point is, this could be anybody. To be fair, it could be even the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Sure.
It could be the governor. It could be anybody. That at the point where they announce your election, oh, he's the winner. Something happens, you lose your sight. Or you're driving along the expressway, you have an accident, your spinal cord gone. I point you back to what happened some time back. Kemi, I don't know if you're aware. A son of a popular politician, I'm not scared, Benga Daniels.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Daniel.
Was once discriminated upon when he wanted to get into a popular eatery, right?
Yeah.
Now listen, the point again, of course, he came on social media to rant and all of those nonsense, right? Good, right? You have a voice, you spoke up. Great. The question then lies, hey bro, what then did your dad do as a governor so that people can be inclusive, so that we could have an inclusive Ogun State when he was the governor of Ogun State? What are those projects that were embarked on to ensure that this discriminatory act is limited and kept to the barest minimum? If there was anything at all, I can count it on top of my fingers, Kenny. And we all know that there exists a lot to be done for inclusivity.
Yeah.
Now, that was just an example, right? So, on talking about education, so many a times, you want to also have like professional courses and you want to take it online. I see that the website is not even accessible.
Sure.
The apps are not accessible. And it's a professional course that anyone is supposed to get on and, of course, get ahead professionally. Now, you meet a trust who is striving and trying to be someone great in life, but his friend can take that professional course, but trust can't take it. So you see, we have a lot of things to do as regards education, as regards ensuring that people with disability are included in the plan. It shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be a part and parcel of the plan.
Even
I don't know, Kemi, are you still there? Yeah.
Yes, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Sure.
you know that with that struggle of the son of the former governor, even up until now, Ogun State do not have a state bill that talks about persons with disability, a law, right? They are still begging the current governor of Ogun State to ensure that they pass the bill into law. According to the last, I recall I had an interview with someone, a visually impaired coincidentally as well, who said that what they told them is that they said the bill is dirty, so they are cleaning it. And I'm wondering, like, this is 2024. It is high time people need to wake up. Talking about the son of Benga Daniel, yeah, I understand what did the father do, but the question is, the son himself right now, this is not just my personal opinion anyways, the son currently, as I'm sure he has organization or a company or business. Does he employ persons with disability? Qualified, yes. I like to use that word qualified because it's not just employing person with disability. Does he have a qualified person or persons with disability who work with him and he pays them salary? Because those are also another question. Because
so okay, yeah.
Yeah.
because I'm looking at, we have the national law that talks about disability. We have governor's son, right, that went to, an eatery, talked about this. And do you know that some weeks after, this same issue happened, I think in Plateau, nobody heard of it. But because he's now a son of a former governor, people are hearing about it on social media. Why? Where have we got it wrong?
But Kemi, it is obvious, right? That at times, um, we tend to live in a bubble, and this is majority of all of us. We tend to speak when it's just us that is affected, right? When we are the one with the problem, when we are the one with the challenges, but fail to speak up
Yeah,
when it is someone
when it's,
else.
yes.
I tell you, yeah. I tell you, yeah. The governor's son can't be bothered. He's hardly in Nigeria. I can assure you, right? He's hardly around. So he honestly can't be bothered. Now, in a case where he is even in Nigeria, he has aides all around him. So he is cut out from reality. Once or twice, he gets his reality check to say, oh, for the fact that you are in the, I don't know, 1% in Nigeria does not mean that it doesn't stop you from still being disabled. But I tell you the truth, as if you go ask him today, he doesn't remember that he was even discriminated upon in wherever eatery that was, because he's cut out of reality. He wants to go from point A to B. He's in his car. He doesn't know that most roads around doesn't have ramps. Does he? Of course not, because he doesn't use the ramps. He's in his car. He needs to go from point A to B. His father can even afford to get him an helicopter. He doesn't know. And And that's why I barely pay attention to performative outcry, because um, it just makes noise. At the end of the day, after the noise, what happened? We are back to regular. Um, what is the? You just spoke about Go State not even having a bill. I tell you the truth, yeah. Um, we happen to live in a place where we just have to live with what we have. Live with what we get. Advocate, yeah. Talk, yeah. Shout, yeah. Protest if you may, whatever you may do. But that can't be an excuse, to be fair. Like, yeah, it's an excuse if in the true sense of it, but we just have to push on. We can't keep on waiting for people who are quote unquote breathing with insanity to come and help you. It can't work. Because I can't explain how your son is on a wheelchair and you don't even think that, oh, my son needs ABC. So let me make things fine for him around the place that I have jurisdiction. You, it's it's it beats my imagination, to
Hmm.
be fair. And that just goes to tell you that in his head, my son is hardly in Nigeria, so why should I be bothered? If he needs anything, we'll go to the UK, US, so he's not around, so I don't care. It's sad.
Hmm.
It's sad.
It's really sad. I hope you can hear me, Trust.
Yeah, of course I can.
Yeah, it's really sad, and that is the reality that we have in today's Nigeria. Because a lot of quote unquote well read persons whom you feel should know are even the one asking you, maybe out of ignorance, or they want to test your knowledge, or they want to test your knowledge on how you get to know about disability or how you are independent enough. So, but
Right.
this is the reality of Nigeria. So let's move on swiftly on
Yeah.
what, the political arena. It has been said that as much as we are longing for a better or an inclusive society or an inclusive Nigeria, we also need
Yeah.
persons with disability to be politically inclined. What do you say to that? Do you
Mm.
think the political arena is one arena you yourself, as Trust Shawn Inonse, hoping to venture into?
Nah, not at all. Uh, nah, that can be me in now and in the future and in like hundreds of billions of years to come. That can be me. I can, of course, I can offer ideas if I'm called to, oh, what do you think about this? Of course, I can give you, oh, let's do this, let's do that, offer ideas to whoever asks for my ideas. Of course, not for free. But if you as an individual say trust gets into the political arena, no. Now, that is for me personally. But why do I think about people with disability venturing into the political arena? Well, um, that's fine. Like when you are idealistic, I think that should be done in an idealistic world. But in reality, in Nigeria, that is close to being impossible, at least for now, right? First things first. Who wants to even? Let's assume it's a voting position you are um clamoring for. You want to get. Who wants to vote for you as someone on a wheelchair? You on a wheelchair, that it will even be a campaign manifesto for your opponents. That, oh, do you want someone that cannot walk to lead you? And you realize that people who are also following will jump on it and say, yeah, person nothing work. It is almost impossible. Let's be frank and sincere. But yeah, you can be in and around the circle. I know some particular people that they've been appointed as special advisor on this, special advisor on that. They've led some committees. I know one or two people who was also a part of the bill that was signed. I think that was 2019, 2020, which or the act, which I don't know where that has gone to, if it has gone to the dogs. I know some people were part of that committee. I know some people who have been appointed who are also disabled, who haven't also helped the disabled community despite their appointments. So it's not, to be fair, it's just the clamor for saying disabled people should venture into politics. It's same WhatsApp group as saying that, oh, the youth should come and lead. But at some point, Yaya Bello was the youngest governor in Nigeria. What did he do to Kogi State? Right? That's not for me to talk about, right? But the point is, the fact that you are young, that situation, the fact that you're young doesn't mean you will care for the youth. For the fact that you're disabled doesn't mean when you're appointed you care for people with disability. So I don't really care who becomes what and who doesn't become what. I think people who have been appointed from disabled committees as special advisors and chaired committees, I didn't see any jack thing they did for the disabled community. If at all they did, it was tokenistic at best. So it's not a function of disabled people getting into political position. It doesn't solve anything. What solves is getting people that cares about disabled community, that wants to have disabled community, not literally, that want to make things happen for a disabled community moving forward. So I don't care if you're disabled or not. Like, if you want to do something, go and do it. I don't care. People who have done there, they've really done nothing. So why am I here saying disabled people should get into politics? I really don't care.
From the anger aspect, you're tired, right, of everything, because hey, we've had previous special advisor to the president on disability for good 8 years. What have they done? And now I want to believe that they are going to be doing something great. But
Kevin, don't worry. They are your friends. Talk to them.
Trust. Okay.
I am trying not to call names, but if you push me, I don't mind. They are your friends.
But hey, regardless, we'll come back to that later. But on the other hand, talking about going back to the theme of media as a tool for diversity and innovation. Let's look into the film industry. The way disability is portrayed in the film industry. What is your take?
Right.
With the way it's been portrayed, and what is your take in general?
Yeah, so I think I alluded to it earlier. It is terrible. I don't think I think we have producers that are lazy. Producers that are lazy, that are ignorant, and that don't necessarily know what goes on around them.
Wow.
And it is sad. Because one of the core elements of filmmaking and film production and writing and scripting is research, right? But you see, we have producers who just hear things around and slam it on their movies. Now, I mentioned it earlier that the bulk of Nollywood movies that you see around today portray disability as witch hunt from village. Oh, one person slept with another person's wife or another person's husband. Before you know, oh yeah, arrow shot the person is now blind. Now, from blindness, let's assume that person was rich. Now that person now becomes poor. Now this person that now becomes blind can't even put a bar in his mouth or in her mouth. You want to eat? Please come and feed me. You know I cannot see. My son. Hey, that is it. And in their heads, they've made a blockbuster movie, right? So if that is not laziness, ignorance, and out downright, I don't know, not just being knowledgeable, I don't know what that is, right? You can't like. There is no way. I met a producer. Not recently. I think sometime last year.
Yeah.
And I spoke to him about, see, why can't we do a movie that portrays this? Like, you know me, I know you. Let's work on something together, and let's put out something great with like great producers, great acts, and all of those things, right? I was down for that, and I was down to do that without a penny. If I say, oh, nice idea. Till today, I have not heard just from him or her. Like, she gets it. Now, how then, as an individual, do you, because you see, I tell you about the United States of America, right? The United States of America shapes a lot of perception through their movies, right? That's why someone growing up tomorrow now, where do you want to go? America. Someone that they just gave birth to that is generally 2 years old. Because the person that watched American movies, they've seen that, oh, America, if you're America, you can even fly, say, with wings into heaven. Do you understand what I'm saying? They portray, if you look at the United States Army, as strong as the army is, the movie gives you there is nobody on the surface of the earth can take out the United States of America. Even if you've not read any book, you see it from the movies. Now, the Japanese are doing the same thing now through their animes, right? Shaping the nation's narratives through TV, through the screens, through all of these things. But what are we doing here back home? We are portraying disabled people in Nigeria as people that they sent out from village that can't even. There was one there was one I was watching some time back. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of the movie. I'd have actually named it. And the individual got blind, and she wanted to mop the floor. And instead of mopping the floor, the individual was putting the mop inside her soup that was on the stool. I'm not even kidding. And because I cannot see, I don't know that is a flaw. I know that it is not flaw.
It's okay. Don't say that again. It's even making me somehow because hey, it's really.
I'm not even kidding.
I know. I had a discussion with also a guy, Demola. Shout out to him, Demola Adeleke. He's also a visually impaired person.
Oh yeah.
And
Top guy. Read some of his space. Yeah, top guy.
Yeah.
At least based on what I read from him.
Yeah. And I know that he had some production, even with Femi Adebayo, right? One of the Nollywood movie, and one of the actor in Nollywood movies. And I'm like, wow, yeah, it took him a lot of struggle. But I was wondering, I was just thinking after that, maybe featuring of him, other producers could probably partner. But hey, we are still stuck where we are. So I feel that it is the 21st century.
It is not.
Yeah.
It is not even about featuring. Like, see, it's not even. Yeah, I can feature in a movie today, right? Like, I can feature in a movie today, and yeah. Trust is in a movie. Okay, what next? It's about making movies to start speak to the heart of the issue.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, if you as a person with disability is featured, you can be able to say the reality, not that they're assuming. For instance, we have an actor right now, right? I don't want those that would know already. An actor who is not deaf and yet claims to be deaf, and I don't even think he signs in movies. So how do you want the community to see a deaf person, because it's just in the movie you will say, oh, how are you? The actor would think you are saying go and sleep. So you know that kind of thing. You would think that a deaf person, when they are non-entities, which is not. So
Exactly.
It's really appalling. But that is what
and you see what I talk about, the laziness of our film
terms of
producers.
research. There was even one.
Exactly.
Let me even give you further. I think there was one. I'm in a group, Pacelli alumni group, and I heard a lot of people saying things. And they said there was even one that came to short movie in Pacelli. They wanted to show maybe blind people, and they told all the blind persons to lay their head on the decks, and that's all. That's just it. And I'm like, for what reason, please?
So that is that. So it's like, so for the deaf one you even spoke about, if the person was even a bit, people who produce such movie could even at least know what the deaf people go.
This one is not even produced. This is an actor in Nigeria. That's
we're saying the same thing. They will know that deaf people are trained to lip read, right?
Yeah.
That when you say, oh, do you understand? They will know, oh, when you say go and sleep or whatever,
yes,
even if they don't get everything they say, but they are trained to lip read. Exactly. So why do I say go and sleep? You're telling me, Kemi, let's not stop.
It's okay, but it's fine. So this is a clarion call, right, to all actors, producers, what they call them, PMs, director, coordinator, everybody, please, let's get the right thing, because you are endangering
I am not
lives.
begging you people.
No,
I am not begging you people.
Let me beg them.
I am not begging.
I am begging you people, please make your research. Let us, it's high time. You watch Hollywood, right? You watch films from US or whatever. Look at Merlin. You see a son who is having autism doing awesome things. And these are not just magical. These are realities.
So Kami, even aside from portraying, right? So if you, I don't know if you're on Netflix, and all of this streaming platforms, you realize that exactly. You realize that these guys use audio description so that in some movies, of course, not yet all, to ensure that blind people can also follow and to know what's the aside the dialogue, so they know what the acting is like and all of those things, at least to the best of their abilities. None, I repeat, at least none that I am aware of. If you are aware of anyone, please can you tell me? None that I am aware of has in Nigeria that is on Netflix presently that has audio description. None that I am aware of. And trust me when I say all these Netflix, at least even if not me watching them, I have people who watch them. And I ask them, oh, is there audio description? In fact, my wife was the first person to introduce me to audio description, to be fair, to be honest, right? So she of course, then she was like, okay, how can she was actually just, okay, how do you watch movie once you want it? And for whatsoever reason, me in my head, I've no looked back at anything movie. Like, is it people's business? It's like, I don't even care anymore. Now they do my communication, they go. Like, jealous, and that's has always been my mindset. And I was just like, Netflix has this thing called audio description. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And she showed me, and it was great. I love it.
Awesome.
So they released one Nigeria movie. And I'm like, okay, is that the picture? No. The second one, is that the picture? No. The third one is so and I'm sure that some of them don't even know that there's something called audio description anyways. So what I'm saying.
It's fine. So that's why I need to beg them also and call their ears to understand that.
Do your work.
To understand.
Do your work. Thank you.
So please, all the producers, all the movie actors, actresses, somebody that knows somebody, please. Okay, it's high time that we have inclusive movies, inclusive media, right? So please, it's very, very important. Now we are going to the final lap. We've actually exceeded our time, but it's been nice talking to you, Trust, right? But definitely,
but it's always nice with Trust now, don't you know?
I know. Exactly. with your okra mouth, that your mouth that cannot take that. Now it's not inclusive enough for a sign language interpreter. Okay, so
I'm sure the sign language interpreter gets it now. I'm sure
Ah,
it gets
you're right. I'm sure she's like looking at the screen like, whoop, okay, all right, great. So now
What's her
moving
name
on,
again? What's
her
her
name
name?
is Demila. Her name is Demila J.
Demilade. I love
Anu,
you
you
so
could
much,
just
and I
say
know you love
Anu.
me too.
Yes,
I
she
love you
does.
so much. I know you love me too. Yeah, I know you
All
love me
right, so
too.
she's starting. All right, so now to the last lap of the show. We are going to have trust another time. It's very, very important, please. By
Right.
next month in October, we would have trust. But we just want to do this to wrap up, right? So now talking about earlier, and I talked about you as a husband, as a married man, right? Is that does
Hmm.
yeah, does your visual tell no, no, tell me, how did you toast? Did you even toast your wife? Let's start with that. Abi, is it not,
Kemi, let's
it's not
thread care.
religious. Okay.
Kemi,
Girls,
let's thread carefully.
shred
My
it.
wife is on this line.
I see her on the Instagram. Ebon, shout out to you. I see her on the call. Thank you. So yeah. So we're listening. Did you toast her? Because you are not you. Anyways, let me keep myself. Oh yeah, speak.
But yeah, Kemi, like it's what it is, right? It's normal. You meet a babe that makes sense, that you think makes a whole lot of sense,
Trust.
and you think matches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you?
can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So it is a normal man-woman relationship, right? You
Mm.
meet a babe who you think makes a lot of sense, that checks a lot of boxes for you, and you want to be your spouse, and you walk up to her and say, "Hey, what's up? Do you want to do this?" And if she says yes,
Uh,
oh fantastic. You say no, you move on now. And for
she.
me, trust as for trust, like of course, someone I've known for like forever, like we've
Mm.
known each other for 10 years.
Wow.
She was in Unilag while I was in Unilag, and all. So we're friends, like really good friends. So when it seemed like okay, this seems to be something that I want to make official.
Mm.
Like we've been friends, we've been speaking, we take for hours, and I'm hey babe, what's up? This is what I'm thinking. What do you think? And of
Ah,
course, it's Shawn Inonse.
Jesus.
It's Shawn Inonse
Trust
for crying
it.
out loud, like.
Trust it. I love me to laugh. Trust, how can you be so romantic? You cannot kneel down.
Exactly.
I mean, you cannot see the floor. You cannot carry
I knelt down
flower.
now.
Trust.
I knelt down
Even
for
if it's
when it was
guy
time to
cane that you show her, it's part of love.
no now when it was time for proposal, I knelt down. Like
Shay.
I could be romantic when necessary. Yeah, I knelt down like will you marry me? And of course, like
Ah,
she said yes.
ah,
Like it's
ah.
no, but Kemi, you know how these things work, right?
I know how it
You know,
works.
you know how you know how it
Yeah,
is. Like
right.
it's what it is. Like right, for
All
it's
right,
social nonsense, and
exactly.
social nonsense things cannot be tampered with. You know.
You need to see me shaking my head like you've not changed the beat. It's trust Shawn Inonse. I remember those lines right from Ikorodu down to
It's social
Unilag.
nonsense for crying out loud.
It's
Like
okay, oh,
it's social nonsense.
yeah. Awesome. It's really nice talking to you, Trust. And so, what would be your, your shots to all, um, media film? When I talk media, I'm talking of radio, TV, film.
Yeah,
What would be your passing
yeah.
shots to them right now and we're listening, and out on how to how to diversify and how to be inclusive in all their ways?
Yeah. So I would say that always know that having inclusive policies is not a favor. It's not out of your magnanimity. It is a responsibility and a duty you owe
Hmm.
to the society, to the next neighbor, and to yourself. Because for whatever it is you do today, you will definitely it will definitely be rewarding or be punishable in future. I say it every time, Kemi. Let me just say this, and I know I've wasted a lot of time. Um, I think, right, and I keep on saying this, any policymaker should always listen to me. I think very much that Braille and sign language should be taught in all primary schools
Hmm.
and maybe secondary schools
Awesome.
to everybody. Now, I say this because if you teach people sign language from little, If you teach people Braille from little, they are forced to want to be empathetic because they are not. Why am I learning this Braille? Who uses this Braille? I bet you that there are people that haven't seen blind people do anything in their lives. Or when you teach them Braille, they're like, who do you use Braille? They say not blind people. Okay, let me even go out of my way to even know what blind people do in their lives. So they are forced to be empathetic. Now, aside from that, and this is why I tell people that it is a responsibility you owe to yourself. Listen, as at the point where you grow old, because if you tell me that literacy can be defined as someone who can read and write, as at the point where you grow old, when you probably lose your eyesight, maybe at 70 or 65, do you then automatically become an illiterate? Because when you don't learn Braille, you can't read and write anymore.
Yeah.
So what are you then? So you've transcended from being illiterate to being an illiterate because you can't read and write anymore. You can't use Braille. So what next? Or when you lose your sense of hearing, you can't sign. So no one can communicate with you and your life becomes miserable. So for yourself, you should even learn this as a skill to use when the uneventualities happen. When an incident happens, oh, tomorrow you're 35 years old and you lose your sight. What do? You then have to go and start from square one and come and meet someone like Trust or Kemi to start teaching you Braille. Braille that you have learned since you were growing up. Or you lose your sense of hearing. You have to go and meet someone like Demilade to teach you sign language. Sign language that you'd have learned from when you were growing up. And you'd have mingled with people with these sorts of disabilities. So I just think that we should be more responsible. It is out of gross irresponsibility. That is why our society is inexclusive. But if we are people with responsibility and we think we are not dumb, you realize that accessibility and inclusivity is also a responsibility you owe to yourself and not just to Trust or Kenny.
Awesome. Great. That's been a very round-up discussion. We've had Trust Shawn Inonse on our live episode 12 edition, and he has been able to cover media as a tool for diversity and innovation, going from the angle of education, society, family, politics, and etc. Even being a guy or a man or a person with a visual impairment, who is the lead editor at one of radio's renowned station, Lagos 91.3 FM. And I hope that where you are currently working, that people will also, put on the courage to other persons with disability qualified to also join in the space as well, and other firms will take up this as a challenge to be inclusive and diversified. So at this juncture, we've come to the end of today's program, and we'd like to say a very big thank you to you, Trust, and to say thank you to you out there who is listening, who have been following us up until now. And a thank you to our tech guy who has been doing so much, a lot, to ensure that we are heard, that the sound is well covered. And we say apologies for the technical, challenges we had here and there in terms of the audio and connection. And we can only do what? We can only do better. It's just one step at a time. At this juncture, I remain your one and only Queen of the Eagles. Do not forget that on the Perch, we do well to fly above our ordinary expectation and bring you inspiring conversations from people you never think about. Okay? Till next time when I come your way, a very, very tremendous thank you to our sign language interpreter here today. She has really, really been struggling to get the okra mouth to get the words from Trust, because hey, I understand Trust is not used to this category of inclusion, and it's fine. We can only do better, one step at a time. Thank you to you, Anu, for joining us on this conversation, even though she has a rice or Gary waiting for her or waiting for her. Take it. So till next time, Oba Posh, thank you very much. Everyone who has joined, thank you, thank you. I'll see you on the other side. Keep
sharing, keep commenting, keep liking, and the world would be a better place. Take care and have a lovely week ahead. Thank you, Trust.
Bye. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.